July 6th, 2023. I thought I would start with the deck garden today and be a little cheeky and show you how I kept my lettuce from bolting in close to 100 Fahrenheit weather. Yes, folks, 97 Fahrenheit weather. My lettuce didn't bolt. Come on in and sit a spell, why don't you? I recently canceled my subscription to Butcher Box. It got a little bit expensive and I was having some issues that I won't go into on YouTube, but my lettuce. Now with Butcher Box, we always got deliveries with styrofoam boxes, quite large styrofoam boxes, which last year I used to raise up my container garden, as you could see in previous videos, which I thought would be better to keep the critters out, easier to net and put shade cloth on and raise it up because I can't kneel down anymore, and it would be easier on my back as I am going to be 65 years old this year. So I just staggered the boxes in a straight line, put some wood across them to join them all together, and I placed my container garden on top of the upside down styrofoam boxes, which worked beautifully. Over the winter I thought, you know what, I don't have any luck growing lettuce. How come? Well, because we come out of spring just as soon as the snow melts, and then we're into 80 and 90 degree Fahrenheit temperatures, plus 30 Celsius, and lettuce just doesn't like that. You get it growing and then it bolts, and if you want to just grow lettuce to have seeds, well, there you go. It all goes to seed. So I was thinking even a used ice chest you could use. Just don't close the cover, and you could put netting over it to keep bugs away. Or anything that's styrofoam, recycle it and grow your quick to bolt plants in there. And I've also put some of my starter tomatoes also in there just because I had way too many tomatoes. These are the remnants of my indoor growing winter garden tomatoes, and they're not doing very well, but they are producing tomatoes. Not a lot, but they're producing. The ones outside aren't because, they can go in until the 1st of June, but they're getting big. So I'm just leaving them in the house along with my few jalapenos. I made some pickles, which I'll show you in a second. Let's see, I started the brine. I wanted to start the brine yesterday, and I wanted to make cowboy candy with some of the jalapenos that I'm growing indoors. So I thought I would start the brine with just a couple of jalapenos, minus the seeds and the membrane, and use that in conjunction with my pickles. I'm only getting one little cucumber. They're 5 to 8 inches long. They're snacker cucumbers, and I am harvesting them around 6 inches because there's so many cucumbers on the plant right now. Let's see if I could show you that. So because I container garden, I can move my plants around depending on what the weather is choosing to do, which I'm enjoying tremendously. If I plant it in the ground down the yard, Mother Nature and weather, and If I need to cover something easily, I don't have to go down the stairs. I just cover it with a shade cloth when it was almost 100 Fahrenheit outside. If I want to uncover it, I just go out and unclip it and uncover it. There's my zucchinis all along the back of the wall there. And my cucumbers and my spare tomatoes. And I thought I would plant them up now because they're getting a little bit big, so I have a succession of tomatoes. My tomatoes won't be ripe until August, folks. So I have a mini dwarf inside here in a big planter with soil and other small containers with each tomato in there. And they're flowering. Some I can move, some I can't. I'm becoming a little concerned about my Irish cobbler potatoes because they're not supposed to be ready until August 15th. Today's only June 6th, and they're flowering. One of my planter boxes with the potatoes in it is already starting to die back. But they say once it flowers, then 2 weeks later the flowers are usually gone, and I usually wait for the plant to die back. So hopefully that will happen around August 15th. Hopefully. And so far my chicken wire tent has worked beautifully for my potatoes. The critters have stayed out. I even have some in grow bags inside the styrofoam. There's the tent cover for my pak choys and my Swiss chard and the things that the cabbage mouth butterfly love to eat. Knock on wood, the things that are covered are well protected. So let's head downstairs into the yard, which I haven't done very much of. My hydrangea that I separated and moved is doing beautifully down in the yard, as is my hostas, my Solomon seal, and my echinacea. Every year it gets taller and taller, and soon it will be in bloom. So I look forward to that. That is just gorgeous, the way it gets so tall. And I have it braced up around like a hoop ring plant, like a tomato plant, a cage, to keep it, when it gets windy, to keep it from falling over, because once they bloom they get a little top heavy. Yeah. And my malvia is growing really big this year, as is my asparagus plant. My daylilies, aren't they beautiful? Look at that. They're in bloom and they don't last very long, but when they're there, they're gorgeous. So I'll give you a little side view of the irises that I transplanted, the hydrangea. I love this little hummingbird stand that I have there. Okay, so now we're going to go with where I had transplanted some hostas underneath the honeysuckle tree. And that's a front view of my Solomon seal and hostas, and it's hard to tell what's what at the moment. It's really gotten really thick. I need to get in there. But it's just been too smoky in the air from the wildfires, and when it's not smoky, it's been too hot. So anyway, here's a tour of the back garden. Forget the grass. I haven't mowed it because I don't want to exert myself with the smoke warnings of the air. So I started off with one hostas plant 23 years ago, and I've gotten all of these hostas. Every year or every other year I divide them, and that's how I've gotten those. And I bought one iris, and I divide those. So I planted those a few years ago in front of my permaculture bed. And all this bed of hostas is everything's been divided. One plant. And I bought a peonies. I didn't get a picture of when it's open. They were open and they were gorgeous. So I thought I would end this video with one that's not quite open, but the thunderstorm that we're going to get is going to just knock the living daylights right out of those peonies.